For over a decade, BSA sophomore theater students have combined serious scholarship with theatrical creativity to bring stories of the past to life. We have partnered with National Park Service, the Jewish Museum of Maryland, the Maryland Center for History and Culture, and the Walters Art Museum. In each project, we focus on stories the history books have left out. For the past 3 years, students have been writing their own monologues for performance.
To kick off this project, we got presentations from BSA faculty and then from external sources, including Savannah Wood from the Afro-American newspaper and a representative from the Reginald F. Lewis Museum to give us more details about Druid Hill Avenue from 1910 to 1921.
Women have been fighting for the right to vote since before the states were the United States. By 1910, the fight for women's suffrage was finally looking like a constitutional amendment might be possible, but the fight wasn't over. Women protested outside of the White House, faced persecution and arrest, and even disagreed among themselves which women should be included in the movement. In 1913, a national parade of suffragists in Washington, D.C. excluded a delegation led by Black activist Ida B. Wells, insisting she and her college women march at the back of the parade. She refused and joined the parade marching with her state. Maryland women were in the midst of the struggles both for and against the vote. The African American women of Baltimore were particularly organized. Leaders like Augusta Chiselle and Margaret Hawkins met in houses on Druid Hill Avenue in literary groups like the Du Bois Circle. On the outside, it looked like a book club, but on the inside, they were organizing and educating women about their rights and responsibilities as voters. On the 100th anniversary of women winning the right to vote, we honor their work and vision.
You ever had something happen to you and you don't know why or when or why it happened? Well, something happened to me. Maybe by chance, or maybe God intended it, or maybe, never mind. Look, the point is, something happened to me, and before I say it, don't, this might just be the devil in me coming out, so just don't say anything yet, okay? I just been thinking, what if we aren't, what if, you know that Lucy chick? You know, the real weird, extreme one who's always on about change in America, having women be free. Well, I might have ran into her the other day. Not like a meetup or nothing. Just we were drunk, and she seemed nice and all, but it got me thinking. You know, I'm just gonna give it to you straight, John. What if we're backing the wrong horse here? What if instead of keeping women safe from the world of politics, they feel like we're oppressing them? I mean, it's not too far-fetched, right? I don't know, it's just that Lucy chick. She seemed independent, like she didn't need a man to protect her. I don't know, John, just something about this doesn't feel right anymore. Something about that Lucy chick. It shook me right to the core, John. And I'm a little scared because I don't know if what we're doing is right anymore. I mean, I'm not saying we go all batshit crazy with the whole right to vote thing, but That Lucy chick. I just don't know anymore, John. I feel like change could be coming, and I'd rather be with the winds of change than against them. Right? John?
Hello, everyone. Thank y'all for making it out here today. Myself and Margaret officially called this meeting to order. Our appointed scribe will record the time of the meeting. I am so glad to see you all again another month. We all need community and fellowship during these hard times for women, in particular, women who look like us. Women are always being told what to do by a man nowadays. We're told we can't do something. We can't have a nice glass of wine when we come home. We can't even vote for our leaders who we believe will help our country. And we're expected to believe that they can't see how it's unfair, how it's unconstitutional, and downright ungodly. We can't and won't allow it because we know. We know in our minds and in our hearts. We know even if our husbands, our government, those white men, those white women, and the entire world doesn't know. We know our nation is unjust towards women and towards black women. But we must fight so our daughters don't have to. So our daughters can grow up in a nation that doesn't restrain their rights like it did to their mothers. You know, I'm gonna tell you all something. Something that happened to me while I was at the grocery store. I'd gone into the store, gotten all my groceries, like my eggs and my milk, and I was waiting in line to pay. There was a white man at the cash register and a white man bagging my groceries. The one bagging my groceries said something to me. Something that made me feel true hate in my heart. He said to me, "See, John, this is what a good woman should do. She should take the money I work hard for and make my breakfast. You get it. You're not out here with all those crazy girls carrying on about how we treat you unfair. I work hard to put food on the table, and all I ask for you to do is make my breakfast." Damn, maybe I should get myself a Negro woman. Then they both laughed. I wanted to scream at the both of them, but I felt I didn't have a voice. This, all of us here, this is our voice. This is where we make a stand to those government leaders, to those white men and women. We show them that we are not expendable. We fight the good fight, and one day, our daughters will be in the White House as president of the nation. That's why we do it. We fight the good fight every day for our sisters, past, present, and future. And even though times are tough today, I am glad to have my sisters here with me. Y'all are my rock, and I love each and every one of you. Thank you all for coming here today. And with that being said, I will pass it to Margaret. Margaret, would you like to speak on that?
We can't quit now. It's not over until we're filling out ballots and electing our leaders into office. And even then, the battle for Black people, that fight will never end. But that doesn't mean we just have to give in. Have you forgotten that the white women don't stand with us? To the white men sitting in their cozy seats in the Capitol Hill, we don't matter to them. Our American rights don't matter to them. Augusta, we joined this group of women, women that look like us, so that we could stand for ourselves. Lifting as we climb, remember? I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of being unheard. Freedom of speech is the First Amendment, for goodness sake, and common sense, Augusta. Aren't all men supposed to be created equal? So why? Why is it fair to leave women out? Moreover, why is it fair to leave Black women out? Oh no, I get it. All white men are created equal. Those documents only work when they benefit white men. Well, I won't live like this. I refuse to stand for this, and I know you won't either. Stand with us and fight for what you believe in. Listen, we've been with this group for many years now, teaching and preaching to anyone who will listen, teaching our women about American politics. This is what I live for. What we do makes a difference in the long haul. I know it does, but we get nowhere unless we keep educating our sisters. So those little Black girls that I teach at school every day don't have to grow up knowing no matter how hard they work in life, they're always gonna have to play second fiddle to some white woman or man. What kind of world is that to grow up in, Gussie? It's a world that we have to change now. Don't you still want to make a change to make life better for the next generation? That's why we got to keep fighting this good fight. That's why we got to keep doing God's work for our people out there. Remember the parade? Remember Ida Wells? And how, when no one listened to her, she made herself heard. So for the future of womankind, make yourself heard. We will show them that we really are created equal. Not just white men and not just white women, but all of us. Troubles don't last forever. But until our trouble ends, it's time to go to work.
We march in an hour, and voting is on Tuesday. We will be there too, at the polls like usual. Now, there will be reporters out there today. Like always, you may speak to them, but please use your words carefully. We don't want them to twist anything like last time. We all know this is a very important march. The route today is down Utah Street to Druid Hill Avenue. Talk to Jennifer if you have any questions about that. All right, let's get out on the streets. Thank you, everyone. I saw the article from the Washington Post. When he interviewed me, I told him to use my name. My name is Alva Belmont, not Mrs. Belmont, not Mrs. Oliver Belmont, and he knows that. That reporter always brushes me off. It's almost like he doesn't hear me. He doesn't hear me say my own name. I don't want to cause too much trouble. The next thing you know, there will be a headline claiming I'm conceited and unprofessional. Diana, can you bring that sign outside with the others? But I do not think I am asking for too much. Honestly, I just want to be known by my name. Not my husband's. He is not here organizing these marches across the country. That's me. He is not here at all. I am. I love him. I love my husband. I love his name. It's just, I have my own. Alva, my grandmother's name. My dad said when he first looked at me, he noticed I had her eyes. He claimed it would have been a crime if he didn't give me her name. And Belmont, my husband's name. I took it to show my love for him, to show that we are a family, not to become his property, not just to be Mrs. Oliver Belmont, but to be Mr. and Mrs. Oliver and Alva Belmont. Oh, I don't know if I'm making any sense anymore. I just want them to know my name. But I know I need to be grateful. They are writing about me, about my work, our work. That's all that matters, right? Oh, Catherine, I am so sorry for dumping this all on you. It just made me so upset is all. I apologize. Well, shall we?
I'm so sorry I'm late. There was a problem at the hospital and somebody got hurt. And I was at the protest. I'm sorry, wait, please, can you listen to me? It was great. There were dozens of us. Some women even brought their husbands. Joseph, you could have been there. Please don't be mad. I know you said you don't want me going to these riots, as you call them, but I'm sorry. This is the one thing I can't do for you. I may not be as strong as you, but I work. I may not get paid as much as you, but I am human, and I at least deserve a right to vote. We are poor, Joseph. I feel helpless. Let me at least have a choice in my future, a choice in our future. How can you sit there and call yourself a man while your wife is out working? I come home from work, cook dinner, clean the house. I do everything for this family. You can't even support your wife. You can't even get a job. You have the privilege to sit on your ass because you know that all of the work I do will be given credit to you, the head of the family. You know what? I'm not going to stop working. I'm not going to stop fighting. You have no right to tell me what to do until you man up. I'm sorry, no.
We've got this all wrong. They aren't going to give us what we want if we keep saying that we deserve the same rights as men because we're created equal. We need to argue that we deserve the right to vote because they're different from men. We can't convince men otherwise. Jane, we've been fighting the wrong battle. What men don't understand is that by letting us vote, a balance will be created. If we keep saying that we deserve voting rights because we're the same, it will not work, and it's not true. Okay, look. I've obviously come here to ask for your help. I know you're busy wiping down tables, Jane, but I need you to back me up on this when I present it to the group today. You know deep down that this is a great idea, the change that we need. Voting rights for women means a decrease in corruption, abuse, injustice, and so much more. I know our relationship is complicated, but I can't do this on my own. Trust me, Jane, if I could, I would. I don't hold as much power as you do. Not that I don't deserve it. They ain't gonna listen to me, Jane. I spend my days working my ass off and my nights working even harder. I was up till 3 a.m. coming up with this. The least you could do is listen. I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling insignificant. I'm tired of being ignored. I'm tired of fighting. Aren't you?
This movement is bigger than us, Jane. I'm sorry. Is that what you want to hear? I'm sorry. I can't take back what I did, what we did. I know that. God knows the last thing you want to do is help the woman that slept with your husband. Are you listening to me? You got kids, Jane. Bet you would do anything for them. Because that's what mothers do, Jane. It's what my mama did for me. She fought and fought every second of her life. Fight for your daughter, Jane. If not for us women, do it for her. Please.
Come look at all these women. They're being so loud. It's ridiculous. Them shouting won't get them anywhere. Never mind women's suffrage. Don't you agree? Don't you find it funny? They just don't get it. Men and women are different. Sure, we can be equal, but we have different roles, and women should always be submissive. Where are these women's husbands? If I ever participate in something this idiotic, I hope you put an end to it. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing what I'm saying? These protesters are being so loud. What will happen if they grant women's suffrage? Will women be deciding our future politicians? I certainly hope not. That would be a disaster. Women need to focus on their family and their husbands. Not some silly politician. Would you please put down the paper and talk to me? Don't you want to hear what I have to say? Or do you even care? Okay, I'll stop babbling. I know I talk too much. Oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you. I was stopped on the way from the general store. The suffragette woman asked me questions about what I thought about the movement. You best know I told her a piece of my mind. I know you think women are silly. And my opinion doesn't matter, but it doesn't hurt to listen. How can you just sit there and ignore me? Why don't you love me the way I love you? I'm sorry. All I do is try to please you. And you can't even put down the paper and listen to me. I'm sorry. I'm getting emotional. I know you hate that. Why must I always seek your validation? Are you even hearing me? I'm sorry for annoying you. I'm going to the kitchen.
Women were not the only ones looking to get the right to vote. Asian Americans did not get the right to vote in the U.S. until 1952, and immigration was very difficult for them because of the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1897. Many Asian families found a loophole in the restaurant or laundry businesses and worked in neighborhoods like Druid Hill Avenue.
Ma, all the bowls and silverware are put back on the shelf. Everything's ready for tonight's service. The newspapers, oh, I didn't mean to leave them there. They're for my meeting. It's not really a meeting. I'm just having some friends come over for some tea this afternoon. I promise they'll be gone before the dinner crowd starts. Don't give me that look, Ma. That don't make trouble kind of look. I'm not making trouble. There are things going around that need talking about. I know you see it too. When we took over for Uncle Chen last year, I was so focused on learning the restaurant, I didn't notice what was going around in the neighborhood. But these laws, dividing the streets by coloreds, not allowing coloreds to vote, it's oppression, Ma. We know oppression. It's like the way it was back at home. Your whole life, Japan has been in control of Taiwan. Admit it. They see us as something to be managed and instructed, and capable. And Uncle Chen said things would be better for us here, and in some ways they are. But we barely could come here. If we didn't have this restaurant in the family, we couldn't have come to the United States. They may let us go to the white schools, but we still can't vote in the United States. I was talking to James and Tom from next door, and it's the same story, except their families have been here for hundreds of years. Listen, I'm not making trouble, Ma. It's about education, not rebellion. Look at what we're reading. Dr. Chiang Shui, he's standing up to the Japanese back at home. They think they can replace our Taiwanese culture with their own, but he's organizing a Taiwanese association. James says that sounds like one of his colored leaders. W.E.B. Du Bois. Education and work are levers to uplift a people. Back at home, it started in a tea house, Ma. It's a movement. Why can't we be that place here? In our restaurant, with our neighbors.
Baltimore has always been a city of recent immigrants and families that have been here for generations. Druid Hill Avenue tells that story well. In the early part of the 1900s, most families there were Polish and Russian immigrants. By 1910, those families had moved west and north of Baltimore, and many professional and elite Black families were living on Druid Hill Avenue. The thriving community included a health center, the Afro newspaper, the YWCA, and several prominent churches. Nearby, the poorer neighborhoods struggled with sanitation and poor conditions. The Baltimore housing laws of 1911 were the first in the nation to try to regulate where people could live by race, and when they were enacted, Black Baltimore pushed back.
The sophomores broke into groups to research aspects of Baltimore from the 1910s to the 1920s. One section looked into housing situations and housing laws. In 1914, one publication showed that from the years of 1908 to 1914, 14,000 row homes had been built in Baltimore City. But most row homes were too expensive and for lots of families to actually afford to buy or to rent.
The Black community were pushed out of their homes and forced to live in homes with terrible conditions. White landlords made housing prices extremely high, forcing black people to move out into a cheaper area. Predominantly black areas were surrounded by white areas, not allowing the black communities to expand as the population grew. Black newcomers rented shanties and doubled up in small houses, resulting in Baltimore's first sizable slums.
Students also looked into housing laws trying to be passed and what rules people were protesting.
White people fought and fought to keep segregation in place and tried to prove that a black family moving into a new community diminished the value of the area. Many people were inspired to take action when seeing how terrible the conditions were. One group, out of many who fought to demolish the issue, created a report to protest a segregation bill.
Many houses in mostly black communities were in terrible conditions, and the areas around their neighborhoods tended to have lots of bars and saloons.
The housing conditions were completely vile, causing the death rate to rise in those areas due to unclean living. The rundown homes had broken walls, unclean surfaces, and trash. In the following years, housing conditions worsened as more and more people moved into Baltimore. Many homes were described as deplorable conditions that violated both the city's housing and health codes. In the following years, up until today, many reforms have been put in place to reverse the effect of terrible housing from the 1900s. Still, the issue is prevalent in Baltimore, and Baltimore must reverse decades of discriminatory housing practices imposed by government policies.
Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something. You're wrong. You're both so wrong. We shouldn't be fighting against the colored folks in our neighborhoods. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We need to work together to improve Druid Hill. I know what you're going to say, and it's wrong. Getting rid of them won't fix all our problems. Do you know what you've done? You're blind, and you've blinded me my whole life. All my life, I trusted you when you blamed everything on them. I know we can fix this. You know the bill that's coming up. You know the one you practically helped write it. The ordinance about keeping colored neighborhoods and white neighborhoods separated as far away as you can get them. I know you are going to vote for it. You want them out, and you want them out for good, but it won't help. If you let this keep happening, the neighborhood will get worse. We need to fix this problem before we can fix our neighborhood. In fact, fixing this problem will help fix the neighborhood. I've been learning to try to fix everything that you guys have destroyed. I've been going to meetings, sit-ins, and protests, listening to their stories, trying to see what I can do. Just last week, you remember the saloons protest. I was there, and so many others. Colored and white folks alike fighting for our community. Fighting to keep that many saloons off the streets. Fighting to keep drunks away from school children and from disturbing the peace of our neighborhoods. We just need to take this opportunity, and we can fix this. All of this, if you just listen to me and to all of them. You blamed everything on them, and I believed every word of it. I never thought to look for myself until now. And do you know what I've seen? I've seen colored people getting treated like trash on the street just because of people like you. This neighborhood isn't being degraded. We aren't being invaded because of them. It's being degraded by all the senseless bickering and discrimination. These rules making colored blocks and white blocks are pointless. Dividing us up and keeping everyone separate. We've never done this kind of thing before. Why would we start now? And you're backing this up. You looked at what these rules are causing, and you still think they're a good idea. They aren't the problem. You are. Oh no. Please don't. I'm sorry for yelling. I have to go. I can't stay here. Not with you.
I'm gonna tell her.
Lynette! Oh, Lynette, my beautiful thing. Listen, I made a promise to John that he can stay in our precious baby's room until the baby comes. That white boy was called here, and I could feel that God needed me to take on this project. He told me to take in John, Lynette. You can't argue with him, now can you? Okay, honey, John is just trying to find and use his privilege. This is the change you wanted. Giving him a home isn't the craziest thing, now ain't it? And you know housing is tough around here. I know what you'll say. The baby has priority. Other efforts are more important. A white man in our house? Okay, yes, I see how it was unexpected I brought a white boy home. Yes, I see that, darling. But this is part of our fate here, our duty here, what we were called on for, to give. Give even when the world turns on us. Our efforts, our change will all make it okay for us someday, for our baby someday. But change doesn't wait for our baby. It doesn't wait for our problems. I love you, Lynette, more than anything, more than the stars, the moon, and your famous flapjacks. But baby, change is coming. I know it. I can feel it, darling. John will only stay till the baby comes, and he will be out at the church as much as possible, out of the house, out of your hair. He has potential, Lynette. We just need to take our time. If you do say no, he's up and gone. But I just know this is the right step. I need you by my side. And this is just one more step in the right direction. We still have a long ways to go. But it's gonna be okay, darling. I'll make sure of it. It's gonna be okay. Trust me.
I'm so sorry to bother you, but would you happen to have a pen? I'm trying to write my friend back home, but I seem to have lost my pen. Oh, no, that is fine. That's fine. I'll find one eventually. Do you know any good cafes around here? I tried to go to one of those diners you have, but it was awful. I mean, I walk into the diner and this woman, she was very big and so pale. She said to me, "Oh, sweetie, what would you like to eat on this fine morning?" And I looked around and I saw the sign that said whites only. And I said, "Perfect, a light breakfast, I'll take the eggs." But when she brings me the eggs, the yolk was everywhere. I said, "Sacre bleu, madame, your sign says whites only, but I don't see any whites on this." And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, I am no pig, everyone in here is white." And she kicked me out, even though she was the one with the false advertising. Why are you laughing? You know, I'm starting to think that you are, how you say it, crazy. I fought in the war, you know. I served in the defense of France, but while I was there, I took a bullet to the leg from the Ottomans. Nearly had to have it amputated if it weren't for my darling Elizabeth. She was a nurse from here. That's why I came. Spent my whole day trying to find her in this city, but everything I thought might lead me to her was just another dead end. Back when she was tending to me and the pain racked my body, my love would sit by my side all night and tell me stories about how wonderful America was. Told me about Baltimore and all the wonderful things she would do. Go on walks in this park, listen to her mother play piano, drink milkshakes at the soda fountain. But one day I woke up and she was gone. They said she went back home, but when I went to the address she gave me, all I found were the ashes. So now I'm here, asking for a pen from a stranger. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Dio la mer, l'érudit de repos. Now just Dio. No, érudit. No repos.
Please, ma'am, I need this for me and my kids. Wait, please, just listen to me. I lost my job and all I need is 2 months. And I swear I will make up the rent. I swear. You have to understand, I can't stay in my old house anymore. I live with 4 other families and it's not healthy for my kids. We keep getting sick from the poor ventilation and constantly being surrounded by families we barely even know. If you let me stay here, I'll only have to share this home with 1 other family, and my kids can just be safe. There's a backyard for my kids to play in. My old home didn't have that. We had a sidewalk and a space between our house and the next. How many rooms did you say this place had? 4 rooms. That's 2 for me and my daughters. My old home only had 3, and me and the other families would take turn on who gets to sleep in the living room that week. Ma'am, look, this place isn't nothing special. I mean, it's practically falling apart. There's no window frames, no privacy, and the walls are so thin my neighbors can practically hear my thoughts. No white person would ever buy this, but I don't have that choice. My family doesn't have those types of options. I just want my kids to be safe. Isn't that what we all want? I'm just asking you to have a little compassion. Do you have kids? Because you're standing here in my face telling me you can't wait 2 months for me to make up the rent. You can't even look me in my eyes. I just want my kids to be safe. I'm just so sick and tired of having to constantly fight for my kids to have a good life, a normal life, like every other kid. All I need is 2 months. That's all I'm asking.
Honey, we gotta take a chance. We ain't gonna let life just pass us by like it's been doing. Think about our kids, the kind of life they gonna have if we stay where we are. We're not gonna be bossed around by no white folks, not by nobody. I know what's best for my family, and this is it. Do I look good? I wore my good suit today. Nice pressed linen, you know I love me some linen. Blackest of buttons, shiniest of cufflinks. Dressed to impress, ain't that what they say? Maybe when this is over we can go get a drink. God, what if we don't get it? All this, we could be doing it for nothing? Did you bring the application? Oh, I have it, sorry. Matter of fact, why would they even give a loan to some damn colored folks like us? What are our kids gonna do, Leanne? They can't grow up in no house with 3 other families. They're due in 3 months. They need a life to look forward to, a good one. The one we got now ain't good. We're riding in a damn horse car, for God's sake. I guess we gotta take a chance. No. I work hard. I work hard for me. I work hard for you. I work hard for those kids in your belly right now. I risk my life every day on that construction site. Why the hell my kids gotta suffer? My dreams don't matter? They don't matter. Damn it, I bet I work harder than all the clerks we have to talk to get this stupid ass loan. It's ridiculous, man. Why I gotta take all this just to get a house? A house, Leanne. I know, I gotta calm down. I'm sorry, I yelled at you. And I love you. No matter what happens, we're gonna be okay. I'll make sure of it. Is it hot in here? Are you hot? I got butterflies. Can't remember the last time I felt like this. Are you ready?
Shabbat Shalom. Becoming a bat mitzvah means joining a community. It means taking on responsibility in order to aid others, simply because they too are a part of the aforementioned community. That is why okay, that's it. That's all I've got. I can't figure out how to talk about her. Right now, she's just words on a page. A name, location, age, that's not a person. I can't tell her story if I haven't been told it in the first place. Grandpa lived in Russia too, right? I mean, I know he was there in like the late 1890s and it's the 1980s now. But do you think their stories might be similar? Okay, I'll try that. When my grandfather was a boy, he lived in Russia during the pogroms. He, like Manya, had to learn how to maintain his Jewish identity when doing so could mean death. There's a story he told me once. When he was just 5 years old, his family got word that the Cossacks were coming to their little village. His father ran to hide in the woods while his mother ushered him and his 3 older brothers into the small, dark crawl space above their oven. When the Cossacks arrived at their home, his mother, my great-grandmother, Alice, treated the men like old friends. She fed them, gave them water, acting as the perfect host, even for harbingers of death. Afterwards, they left, and my whole family remained safe thanks to Alice and her strength and bravery. What does this have to do with Manya? I mean, it's been at least 80 years since Grandpa left. Some things must have changed. But maybe they haven't. Maybe it's just the same cruelty with a new name. Girls and boys across Russia may end up trapped for the rest of their lives. I read an article the other day about how Jews were being denied visas to leave the country. Grandpa was lucky. He managed to escape. But that wasn't easy either, was it? 5 years old, alone on that boat for 2 months. I guess I was lucky too. I got to grow up here in America, in Baltimore. But that's only because Grandpa and his family went through so much to make that possible. I owe them my life. Wait, hold up. Grandpa escaped soon after that and came here to Baltimore, where he found a community of people just like him with hopes and dreams far beyond that little village back in Russia. There, in those crowded apartments on Druid Hill Avenue, he got to be a kid, running up the cobblestone streets to Whitelock Street, the center of the area's commercial district, to buy some candy or just run around the area, dodging ladies' skirts and men swinging briefcases. Nonetheless, Grandpa was lucky. But Manya may not be. Manya cannot have a bat mitzvah. So I have brought her here today in spirit to welcome her into our great Jewish community. Come, Manya, and sing with me the songs of freedom.
We were tasked to research music and theater in the time period of 1910 through 1921 related to Druid Hill Avenue. While there were some exceptions, the majority of our group focused their research on the 1921 Broadway production of Shuffle Along, so that is what we will focus this intro on.
For Shuffle Along, the majority of opportunities for African American performers were in the realms of vaudeville and burlesque. Burlesque is a type of variety show that is comedic and provocative. Burlesque is historically considered low class and lewd. One step up from burlesque is vaudeville. While vaudeville can still include some burlesque-style acts, it had more variety of performance and was considered higher class. Many performers in Shuffle Along got started in vaudeville circuits.
Shuffle Along was a Broadway musical about a mayoral race that premiered in 1921. Shuffle Along includes many famous songs, including I'm Just Wild About Harry, Baltimore Buzz, and I'm Simply Full of Jazz. The show was performed at the 63rd Street Theater, which did not even have an orchestra pit. The show ran for 504 performances, which was very long for a show of the time.
The writers and composers of the musical U.B. Blake, Noble Sissel, Flurney Miller, and Aubrey Lyles were all well known at the time as famous vaudeville veterans. Many performers started long and successful careers from their experience in Shuffle Along, including Josephine Baker, Adelaide Hall, Florence Mills, and Blanche Calloway.
Shuffle Along was a first in a series of firsts for African American shows on Broadway in the early 20s. The show was incredibly popular and showed that a show like it could be successful in the higher competitive of Broadway entertainment. The show had also had two revivals in 1933 and 1952. There was an adaptation, Shuffle Along, the making of a musical, that was performed on Broadway in 2016.
Enjoy the monologues!
Why does this have to be the world's first impression of me? People say that the show will always come together in the end, but that seems difficult to believe that we can get everything that needs to be done overnight, especially with the director missing. When I was working with the choir or the Smarter set, the shows may not have been great, but they weren't trying to be professional. This is. When I signed up for Shuffle Along, I thought there'd be some semblance of order and professionalism, but it doesn't seem like it to me. I guess I've come a long way since the voice and piano lessons that my mother made me take. I may have thought I was good then, but I've definitely learned a lot. To think that I, the daughter of Cab Calloway, would drop out of school to sing. So much for a respectable career. But I am doing well. Shuffle Along may not have been what I hoped it would be, but maybe when this is done, I could move on to something better. Maybe tour to England or France. Well, I need to stop daydreaming and seeing if I can work on my choreography. Oh, Mr. Miller, here, Mr. Miller. You're stepping in for Mr. Brooks today, right? I'm Miss Calloway. I don't know if it's my place to talk, but things don't seem to be going well. We need to work harder. We have the preview here tomorrow morning, but the issue with that is the theater's not letting us in until tomorrow morning. You need to get in there and convince everyone. We need to get to work.
Good evening, everybody. I'm F.E. Miller, and I'm stepping in for Mr. Brooks tonight because he's meeting with some potential donors. We've got the trial at the Howard tomorrow, and they're not letting us in until 9, so we've got to be ready. How is everyone doing? Victor, how's that town hall set coming? Okay, just have it done by tomorrow morning. John, where are those hats for Lottie? You don't have them done yet? Where is Yubi? He's supposed to be rehearsing with Miss Adelaide. Dinah, why are you sleeping? Get up. It's time to stop relaxing and get to work, or our work won't happen. Do you want them to think that we're lazy? Before this, even the best colored shows have been mere vaudeville, but here we have the chance to go to Broadway. Do you all even want to go to Broadway? Because whether or not you want to, I do. We have got to work as 10 times as hard as our peers, because if we don't, we're gonna fail. I have woken up every morning and some sleepless nights for the past 20 years. I wrote this play, for goodness sake. Not only did I write it, but I was the inspiration behind it. But what are you all doing? Do you even want to be here? Because if you don't, you can get out. Okay. I may have been a little harsh, but I am feeling really discouraged. It seems like none of you realize what this show could be. It feels like I'm alone. I'm going to TG's to get some groceries and clear my mind. But it would make me really happy when I come back to see that some progress has been made. Oh, by the way, Charles, could you try to have those posters done?
I am one of the 48. Even thinking it is just baffling. Sorry, I ain't really cut out for all this interview stuff, but I gotta be honest, right? I remember dancing all around the house as a kid. Tapping, twirling, leaping. I really thought I was hot shit. Lord forgive me. Whenever I went over to my grand's house, I would show her my newest moves, and she always asked my mother, when are you gonna get this girl some lessons? Well, they both knew my ma was flat broke. Most of the time we lived by a paycheck. My daddy died when I was real young. He was a vet. I was about 10 when my mama told me he passed. I'll never forget the cry she let out when she got the letter in the mail. It was loud, something real awful, practically shook the house. The only thing I seem to remember is that big old smile of his. Mama always said I smiled just like him. But when he died, money got a little tight. The few times my mom would spend a pretty penny was on an itchy new Sunday dress. She worked herself to the bone while I was out here trying to make a career out of flailing my arms around. But when she finally got all of the money after working tirelessly, I went straight to the studio. It was a small one on the other side of town. They were the only ones that accepted coloreds after all. After my mother's shift, we would take the train from our old tenement house on Biddle Street to the studio over on the west side. I worked day and night until I was the only colored girl who got solos. I auditioned for more stuff than I can remember, but every time I got rejected. I was thinking to myself, God, did I do all of this for nothing? This is when I started to look into other jobs until my mother told me about these auditions they were holding for this new musical, all colored too. I went down to where the auditions were being held. It was a small little warehouse, which was a bit concerning at first. But when I walked in, I really thought the Lord was testing me today. A whole bunch of colored folk like me, warming up, stretching, I just couldn't believe it. The audition process wasn't anything too special. A 16-bar song selection and a dance combination. I danced just fine, but the song, on the other hand, wasn't the best it could have been. I never was good at singing. I wanted to go for my church's youth choir, but my mother made an effort to keep me as far away from it as possible. When everyone was done auditioning, they told us they would contact us by mail for whether we got into it or not. And so we waited. I was just itching to get on stage and perform, but I knew I had to be patient. My mother had all of United Baptist praying for me to get in. My mother had all of United Baptist praying for me to get in. And then the letter arrived. I was shaking, and my mother was practically speaking in tongues. My little shaky finger tore open the paper, and the letter inside said, Miss Dina Mary Thomas, we are pleased to inform you that you have been chosen to partake in the all-colored production of Shuffle Along as a member of the ensemble. Rehearsal starts Monday the 30th. We hope to see you there. Please be prepared with the necessary materials. And all of a sudden, it felt like all of those dreams I had of dancing on a stage was finally coming true. I am so excited to go to New York in a few weeks, but I ain't keen on leaving my mama behind. She's getting up in age, and I don't have any brothers or sisters to take care of her. I tell you, sir, she is one persistent woman. Told me the other day, if anything happens to me while you're gone, the Lord got me, so you need to stop worrying. Sorry, I got a little off track there. I told you I ain't used to all this. Any more questions, mister?
You're telling me you think right now is a good time to move away? I can't believe you. Seriously, Marion? I was coming home all happy from work, excited to tell you my amazing news, and you drop a bomb like this right after dismissing my dream. Listen, I know times have been rough and you've been feeling down about it, but what has gotten into you? I know doing this show is risky, and I am well aware of the risk, but can you honestly say to my face that we don't need this money so damn bad right now? This is an amazing experience for me. It's shuffle along. Them producers been out here talking about it for months. What happened to all the excitement you had when I first told you I was going to audition a month ago? You were the one who, ever since I was 5 years old, strutting across the kitchen floor, told me to do whatever it takes to make my dreams a reality, no matter how big or small. I've always looked up to you, Marion. So why are you shooting me down right now? Why aren't you happy for me? Listen, let's put the discussion on my play aside. Mom and Dad, they're getting up in age, Marion. We need you here. God damn it, Marion, we need you here. Why are you being so stubborn right now? Listen, I know you're worried about money, and so am I. But this right here is a clear solution. And it's a great opportunity for me. And it's one that doesn't involve you and your husband moving halfway across the country.
I hope this production finishes up soon. I love it and want it to go far, but it's so tiring to work on. I love my craft, and I'm very lucky to be here. I just don't know how much longer I can take this strain. I love the people here. I really do. They're so pleasant. Miss Lottie. Oh, Miss Lottie. I love her. She's so sweet. But this deadline is killing me. We have to have these costumes ready by the 30th. Don't even get me started about how much pressure I'm under. My fingers ache. I have to make these fancy schmancy costumes and make them look good. Where the hell is that? Do you have any idea what it's like to be black and a woman and be the costume designer on this show? If I don't make these costumes look good, we will all be ridiculed. Ow, son of a... And on top of that, these costumes are so damn complex. Hell, I don't even have enough fabric for the top hats. Where the hell am I gonna get 10 more yards of fabric? This is such a large show with a large cast that I can't even supply. Why the hell the cast gotta be this big? They had me make 27 different costumes for Florence. And this budget? We barely have any money for these costumes. The producers want all these costumes, and I'm sitting here asking for money. I wouldn't be sitting here alone at this hour if they didn't have to cut people because of money. Now that I think of it, there's a shop on the edge of town that should have fabric. I just want to sleep.